If if you became convinced God commanded you to sacrifice your child like he commanded of Abraham, and we know that God stepped in and provided a sacrifice, but he seemed willing. If you were put in that same position, would you do it? And if the answer is no, then doesn't that mean you don't really trust your God? And if the answer is yes, then doesn't that show that people shouldn't be involved in religion? Because just look what someone could convince themselves they should do.
Well, I mean, the second question is just assuming that religion is just delusional. I mean, you're just assuming the conclusion you want. We got to actually look at it from an internal critique, like that God actually does exist and he does show up and he does say this. For one thing, I think, remember Paul Copan talking about this. God doesn't actually command. He pleads with Abraham to do it. It's a weird word to use there. It's not like a direct command. It's almost like a very strong way to ask. So
like, won't you do this for me? Kind of thing
like that. Yeah. So there's that. Also, we have to look at it from Abraham's perspective. So the author of Hebrews talks about this, is that God had already promised that the seed was going to come through Isaac. So Isaac was going to have children. He didn't have children at that point. So the author of Hebrews makes the point that God either was going to stop him or raise him from the dead. So if God exists, and if he told me my own child was going to live long and bear many children and hadn't yet, and then said, offer your child up, you're entering a conundrum here, because obviously God's going to do something to assure that's going to happen. So they're not going to remain dead if they actually die. So again, you got to look at it from an internal critique here. So from Abraham's perspective, it wasn't like he was going to completely end Abraham's life. I mean, even Abraham said, we will come back to the servants he leaves behind.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. We are going to go worship and then we'll come back here. Yeah.
Right. So Abraham suspected something there. So if I was put in that perspective, I hope I would have faith to do what God asked me, but I don't know if I'm strong enough, to be honest. And again, it has to be the exact same perspective. If like some being just showed up in my room and it was like, sacrifice your child, I'd be like, no, who are you? Well, here's the thing. We also don't think God is going to do that, because that's the whole point of the Abraham story, is so that we don't do it, because it's not what God actually wants of us.
Right.
So
yeah, these other gods want that kind of child sacrifice. I don't want that.
That was one of the main points of the story. It's not the only point, but it's one of the main points, is like, this will never be asked of anyone again, kind of thing. Like,
yeah, the whole point of the story, you have to admit that the whole point of the story is that it doesn't end up happening. That's the point.
Right. Right. And Abraham, again, if you're going to take an internal critique and from the biblical perspective, Abraham had to know something like that, because either God was going to stop him or Isaac would be raised from the dead. And this is what the author of Hebrews says.
Yeah.
So if you have that full perspective, you have a different outlook. It's sort of like a better analogy would be like this. Would you kill your child, Braxton? No. Would you kill your child if you were in a dream world, like in the movie Inception? Maybe, because they're not actually going to end their existence. They're going to come back outside of the dream world. Right. Likewise, from Abraham's perspective, he knew something was going on here because of the promises, then what the author of Hebrews talks about as well. So obviously he didn't think he was going to assuredly end Isaac's life for good. So a lot of times atheists sort of attack this with an emotional knee jerk, and then they'll take all these aspects into the perspective.